Council, if we're ready to continue, please proceed. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're ready to proceed. May I ask that the witness be brought in, please? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Bismillah, Sedo.
Thank you. Before the break, we were talking about the functions of the NIA. Or rather, the formal functions of the NIA. And how the agencies has been doing its work. And you've explained one important issue, that intelligence agencies, in the exercise of their mandates, oftentimes indulge in illegalities.
Ko ya fa jam fana la kuma kan kono ko kullo doko bunda ko e doko ila doko kono wato do bije ka ko dol kala men yalon ko duwanta yalla.
And we have touched on a few areas.
Fanna dandan ma o ko kono le.
One is the spying on political opponents of the government.
Wolem follow ka kullo sunya ke opposition la with
a view to advantaging the government in power. And the second is secretly funneling funds to private endeavors through the secret service, through the secret agency like the NIA. I would add a third limb, which is drug dealing. But let's go back to the first, to interrogate that a little bit. Council, a little...
Is the witness?
Yes, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, sure.
Yes. Just a little while ago, Honorable Mai Ahmed Fati, who is, I understand, the leader of a political party, had complained in the press that their phones were being tapped. We are not, you don't have the jurisdiction to deal with what is happening now. But I use that as a basis. Ask whether things like this used to happen during the 22 years of Jammeh. The tapping of the phones of political leaders with a view to advantage the government in power.
Ko political party lo ila nyaton ko pour ila telephone ol nying ke ila mo ila telephone ila diamo la ka menke fo be wolbe keri nonu ba.
Thank you, Council.
Numbara Council.
Like we started by talking about the normal modus operandi.
Ko na funonya min damu takakacha dukulu tamandinya silatilindula.
And most of our work is supposed to be discreet and then works around the gray areas of the law and sometimes even breaking the law.
andu na doku dolu akake kulloti andu jama akake luwa janjangolela andu dolu jama akake kulleti men yalon ko fango ini luwa bukata nyola.
These are supposed to be discreet so that it doesn't bring a public outcry.
Nilu akake nyine kama ayake kulloti katu ubukalafi jama yalo nasi na dia mo ulindi.
Now coming back to the political, it is true that, like I said, the objective of the unit, the purpose was defeated. Simply because instead of focusing on the core, it was diverted to become advantaging, as you may want to call it, the incumbent. And these I can say based on the activities. Simply because, like I said, you mentioned one example. That was not supposed to happen, because if only that is going to happen, it means that particular politician or political party is suspected, highly suspected, of engaging in some kind of clandestine activities to destabilize the government out of the political world.
Akakelari ku sobe kan ko isobita ko nyimpolitik party wala nyimpolitis yankari adbulobe kulle kono meni alon ko ulbekela kutinya leti wala ka kulu samba banko ka meni alon ko ulbina nya jawole natila banko kan silin samu.
Back in the days, the few I could remember, I was a junior, but I know everybody will remember Moja G.
Comment wati jang katotumu palasi dumen kole bembulu bari nimmolu hakilo bakan kafusoto tamun kafame Moja G.
These were political activists
political tamandilalleti
based outside,
bari ibe banko e bantalale,
but with a foothold here and very strong within Banjul.
Bari simfalori soto jang andu wila kulu abemu Banjul sate nekon.
So our main focus was to make sure their members are fully monitored.
Nanyatilinya momenti ngotumo wala kafudimu lumelo kafoni nkono ibe kuokundin kela janka tamandin crossing along ibemento.
Because the government back then and the intelligence community here back then believes their activities are out of the political political line.
Mansa kunda ya menje anin molu lata menna wotumo dokula karola wokafo molu ibe kolu menu tamandi kanjang afintita politiko la sartol min politiko la nya kolole.
But then Moja,
bari wato la nyimoja kafonyi
Moja Gambia at the time,
Moja Gambia wato
was classified as an unlawful organization.
ya yenyina fo ko to mo kaflet me ya lonko inin loi man sembodi ya puri sabati.
Exactly.
It is understandable that the activities of an unlawful organization may be monitored. Especially an organization whose objective is the toppling of the government of the day. Possibly through unlawful means. On that basis, one can understand that. But the monitoring and the eavesdropping into the conversations of leaders of legitimate political parties with the objective of advantaging the incumbent government is by every standard unlawful. If it was unlawful then, it would be unlawful now. Where are they doing it?
Of course, Council. This is why I said the whole objective is defeated. Because you were talking about even wiretapping and putting them on surveillance. Extreme nature of trying to penetrate the organization with itself. Where all things that were happening. All geared towards what? Knowing their moves so that you can move before they move. So in a nutshell, it's all geared towards, like you said, advantaging and the incumbent. This is absolutely wrong, because it was not the purpose it was set out for. If that answers your question.
It sure does. I'm just stunned. It sure does. I'm just stunned and surprised.
5
years ago, my party would not have been wrong. I don't know whether he's right today.
Sanji lulu ko mai 50 asigena abe kila mulu me alon ko amam filu malo fo nyina sainde abe to nyalla ba.
These are true. Deny that, because like I said, the NIA was set up from the onset to be bad, and it has been used and overused for the personal gains of the president.
NIA kabira fulu dula ya londi nyina kama kakidun kira kurumuti adun kabiru tumo itelube wo silole tamandikan puru ka kuolu ke meni alonko wolu be president dronne de mala.
Perhaps I should just underline the fact that the NIA is a national institution funded through taxpayers' money. It should not, must not, ought not to be used for the private gain of whosoever is leader.
NIA mu dingiral me ya lonko ya londi nyine kama puru banko na mjola la kodo wole ka mol jo wole ya londi wole kama fana andu amanya na kala dingiral me ya lonko abe mol detela abe kuma mol la mol tala me ya lonko ko me ya fo ya nyamenteng.
Thank you very much on that. A little while ago we understood that the NIA was involved in policing or in investigating or interdicting drug dealing activities. And in that process, we got to learn that, in fact, NIA officers themselves used to be involved in drug dealing. As an institution, do you know whether they have ever indulged in, aided or abetted the dealing in drugs?
So, ila londoro aseniate malwanko inanda bulata droko julaya to ba waranto kamo kanandi droko julaya ko to ba wala kama ko di mola.
Council, I'm on the oath.
Council nakali oleke
during my time.
No wato kono.
It didn't happen.
Amankali wotumo.
The only drug case that becomes a matter of concern that found me there was one.
Drug kunya meya lonko anatake meyente taraji utumo kilinnem.
And I will give you the genesis of how that happened. You see, there was a counterterrorism unit funded by the Americans.
bunda lo sotonta men depenso kabo americano bulu men ya lonko wulu ye lundi le kama kijate lan tambila la ko pour ka wulu no masata,
which was doing very well.
ne ya lonko be do ku kende ke kanu,
And then they were managed by the Americans
andu wotumo americano le bulo be koto wolle kado ku bunda yin tamandi
in the fight against international terrorism.
andu be men kele kanu wolem bankute ma tajire ya lan na tambirulu.
A lot of training were given to them and logistics.
Ye karandinu baake anin ka bulodu ni koto ka ila sula fenu bon ka dila.
For whatever reasons,
Bari dalila menna ta sabu.
the president one day just said he wants to close the unit.
President ulita lum kilina dorong aka lafta bunda soron nale.
By then Hari Sambu was there.
Utumo Hari Sambu bije.
And then when this news funneled to us,
Birinyin kibaru futatan toluma.
to me, I will say, and the director external saw,
Ante kulo anu utumo director membe bunna kulu min bantala kulu kunna ka fae so.
we were very worried and concerned
Akuwa ketanyen dewoti ayen sula.
because we asked this question to him several times.
Katu na nyin ko nyinin ka sinya jama.
What do we have to gain by disbanding the counterterrorism unit?
No fajuma le benteliye pour kanyim doku bunda sorong me yalon ko wollemu kijate lan tambila la ko no masatoti.
And then we all pleaded to him that please do whatever it takes.
Mbewa sita ko akita nyonyandi nyama ila kato dangoke.
You make sure the president don't disband this unit. Let them leave them to go because it is a very important arm.
Na dani pro asa kata nyabe sio nyama ay president dani ka wasia ay pro akana nyim bunda sorong kato bunda le me yalon ko bela kato dangoke kanko solo bala nyami.
Whether he did or not, I don't know, but he said the president still wants to close it.
Fata nata wo wasio ke president wo nabam fama ke mawolo mbari president wa nata men fenye president wo belori nyine kanko abe bunda nyin soron na.
And they started commanding the vehicles they are winding out.
Tumo le ya damuta puru motolu menu be bulu do kola kawulu bondije andu ya damuta utumo puru ka bunda nyin na kolu tawu.
In the interim,
Wiche kono
he was relieved of his duties.
ya ala do ko busiala
I took over from him.
ntena palaso ta atele bulu.
When I took over, that is my first assignment.
Ina do ko ta na sasi folo ketanu woleti.
So fortunately, there was this one fine Friday I was called to the State House.
Itu anatake manta bemuti jumanun kilin soton ta yen kumande kumatan danku State House.
I will call it as a briefing session and an interview.
Mba fulako kacha benolem anin fana nyinin karo nin jabiri beno.
That's how I say it. So I went.
Ndenga jawole nyama barbitun ntata.
The first thing that was on my list was about the counterterrorism unit.
Follow membe kolu kunto diamu kolu to wolem ubunda men ikafai counter-terrorist unit wolem kijate lan natambila la ubunda.
I told him that if at all you have any concerns or worries about how the unit is operating, tell us.
Nene fai nimbe kube dala wala sula kube dala ubunda katama nyamin afonye.
We'll try to see how we'll bridge that gap, but let us leave this unit to operate.
Mba katala nyabe sio nyama kene wo kene bije mba kene sukila le bari nyimbunda bula yetama.
Because we have a lot to gain, nothing to lose from leaving them to operate.
Nafa bale bentoli yeje adum fem tenyeje membe nafa la nimbunda nyintawunda.
He was argumentative about saying no, these people, they have been managed by the Americans, and then they're even targeting business people, things like that.
Aketa nyose akachati nyose bamuluno kafuko hani nyimulu mbela ubunda taunda lekatu nyilifangulu amerikano lebela kulu tamandikan amdang amanda wala fang yenyatilin na julo bolu la banko kan.
But I insisted,
Bari mtefanam bambanta lulo talu
respectfully.
na dani bunyani horomo kan.
And then he said, okay, you can go and tell them to operate. Because that's Jammeh. He tells you one thing now, the next minute he changes.
Utumola na atafanya okay bitu alta aliyebula yetama bari jammelam akanyine fo yesayin wati sutun kono ayelema ay kumadofo.
I happily went back.
Ninsewo muruta.
I told well, he said we should allow it to operate.
Nko se bitu de ako nganyim bunda bula yetama.
So we were there, and then when Pajalo came, First thing he complained to Pajalo is that I refused to close the counter-terrorism, and he ordered me to close it.
I come follow me for Pajalo, William in the control Balantala Purka Duku Bunda data, Memo Kijate Lanatamo Masata Bundati, and do a Korajalo Purunsa Sorong. And I know for Co, now Sorong.
So he closed it, but they came back to us to form another unit. And I mean, they means the Americans.
They
said, fine, we can close it, we can transfer the unit to the headquarters, but please think about, let us create this counter-narcotic unit.
Ko hab to nyang sa soro ngaje data won bari bitun si ila kolu sawundi do ko bunda do to mem korda ba nyim karoti bari bitun bal danila ali bunda londi men ya lon ko wolle be bulala sira fengulu noma,
because by then the biggest threat
ato to mo silandi kuba men be keri
drug activity.
Wolem sira fen jawulu tamanya be keri min ngene ngine bisa banko kan.
Drugs were flowing all over, and Gambia was used as a transit point.
Adu wotumo sira fengulu drogo abetama kanyabe sio nyama kabogeni bisau adu wotumo ye Gambia ke teman kaleti ni drogo lu katambini ndamenna.
When they said that, and they sold it very well to us,
and
they said they will give support.
So we
looked at it, we said, okay. I remember I even raised this question, what about the NDA?
Did
you try to approach them about the creation of this unit? In a nutshell, what they told me in that meeting, to sum it all, is like there was no trust.
The
DG, current DG of NIA, appeared here as a witness. And the justification he gave is that there is an international dimension to this. And it was their responsibility, therefore, to gather intelligence on the matter. And I think that's a reasonable explanation. But the NIA was not limited to that. They were conducting actual operations. Would you consider that overreaching or acting outside their authority, that it was ultra-virus, it was unlawful?
When you look at the setup of the NIA, in the first place, this is why I don't think that particular unit was even meant to be there. We have been having, like I said, research unit whereby they will still be continuing to gather all this intelligence relating to whatever matter, especially that matter, and dish it out.
Bari kisikisiro la karola puruka abunda londi afayenia jube isi tamano le kakulu nyinin kakulu kulolu nyinin me yalonko na keta nyama ni kibaro kensu isadi bunda lula men yalonko wala la tamandirom.
So you are therefore of the view that the NIA should have been limited only to intelligence gathering and then submit the intelligence gathered to the government institution that had primary responsibility over the issue, like NDLEA.
Well, that's how it should be. But unfortunately, because of the unit was set up there and it was approved by the DG, and then they said, okay, we'll operate with we have an international collaboration to fight drugs at our own level.
Bare betun birina ta bunda nyin londi diji fona ta song purka tamandi ko ha betun silang wairi na banku nim banku te mabulo soto jembe kulu tamandi le ko ya sarto din na nyami.
So this is how that unit came into being. So this is why
ubunda nata lo ten wala ya sabu.
This is why when that operation came,
wala na biriwo kulu tamandi ya nata.
Intelligence was gathered.
Ibaro lu kensunta.
And then they said it was credible.
It's
going to happen. So all of us are with the notion that, well, this is credible, especially when another element crept into it saying that there are drug law enforcement officers who are complacent.
Butum natafu hauto abetiata etamandi nyama bari butum kudole nataduna kono meye de unda warandi bring iko drug squad do kubunda wala NDLEA la molu folu idabe o drug jula kono.
So when Saul told me this, because he was the guy in charge,
bring so yin fonye katu ateleba ko kunenu. And
I said, are you sure? Because this one thing about me is I want anything I am going to mobilize resources onto.
Nkaye nyindun koite male katu ndemu mwole time yalon ko kubena karola nimbe de panso dundila ko kundin kunna.
I want to be pretty sure so that I can actually stand one day and defend it.
Walam nyinti ko laftale ko makende kende ke isaje lum sisoto ning abesayin kan insilo no nafasa roke
akko. Yes, it's credible. The source is very credible. He's communicating with them and they are going to transact this thing.
Ako ha kuto nyalom kusoto ni wolem akani kanyomoile aduna konyin a telephone ba ko no satala ka tamandi.
The correct procedure should have been to report to NDLEA. Correct? Yeah, when you look at the legislation and everything, they are the body tasked to fight drugs. That's fine. That's true.
Ni ajube sarto ni ndu ala karola. Wala mdoku bundati yemenu sasi pur kasira fengu kela bankoka.
If you did not trust the NDLEA, you go to the police. Correct? It was wrong for the NIA to be involved in that operation.
Council, I absolutely agree because they have the legal backing. When you look at it that way, absolutely right. Good. Like I said, a lot of things were happening in NIA doesn't necessarily have any legal backing.
You mentioned counter-terrorism unit. Were they involved in rendition programs?
Not that I know of, honestly. Because I had a very short time with them. As you can see my service history, I spend a lot of time out. Within the short period I've been there, to be very honest, I've not seen it.
Have you seen or heard about this Saudi guy who was involved in Yemen or was taken out by the Americans?
For ya mwelebang warando fo inana jelebang ni Saudi dingo nying menna kumo fota jenu mi anako ya findinde
men ko fota no
Yemen ya findinde America.
I am not sure which country, but I heard.
You're talking about Gambia.
What I'm saying, no, what I mean about whether it's a Saudi or Yemeni.
Yes.
I'm not sure about where, but I heard, yeah.
We received information that we provided, or we had in the past, provided safe houses that were used as places for torture as part of these rendition programs.
Also, see, I don't know whether it is right to spill everything out here, but I will tell you this.
This one is not just national security. This is pure blatant human rights violation.
That's what I'm saying.
If some countries think that torturing people in their countries is a violation, why would they come do it in our country? We have to get this right. If it is not good for them, it should not be good for us. Well, if their citizens wouldn't accept it, we should not accept it here.
Well, banku ding bantala bankolu ila dingulu ila molu ni itali la banko kaya jele ko purka molu mutake tajire yaje amantili italu malla fala itakela woto manyan na lanto la banko kan jam purka na woke jam wairi italu fongolu ya itakela je.
You see, the counterterrorism unit has been operating.
Ya jele wo bunda menketa kijate lan tali no masatalan.
Could you take that again?
Foreign organizations, the Americans, in code.
Bantala kafulu melo beko Americano lo kola
I think, in my personal opinion again,
na mi rante fansu miro le mnyintide.
the reason why they choose all country but Gambia,
Nina na ye banku dulu tuje inata Gambia tombong.
notorious nature of the country.
Bankola kulu taranyale yo sabu.
Notorious for what?
Notorious for all the abuses.
Kato Gambia tole botako tajiri yalu ni lana katambo nyanta tinyalu la karola Gambia to bota wala nu.
So
what cannot be good in Senegal could be good in the Gambia.
Umem mambete no Senegal woto wokulu lanya kama isa keno la Gambia.
So we were torturing here, so they can also come and torture here. Is that what you are saying, Mr. Witness?
Because, yes, they've been operating with them. Arrests were made, I heard, and they were kept here, sometimes in the same cells you described. Away.
Dokolu tamatale mutarolu keta andu kanyilu fonglu no molu be dundi sel kilingol le kono yewlu landi dam yewlu mutadum dam yeke dam akolu tamata min jangole nyama.
So what you were saying, was it like a mini Guantanamo Bay in Gambia?
Maybe not up to Guantanamo, but
a mini.
Guantanamo Bay adomandi ma.
Well, if you want to describe it that way, I think it's reasonable. Because we all know they don't just set up the unit and then putting all resources there for nothing.
Was
it just limited to the Americans? Did it or did it not extend to some country or countries in the Middle East?
For manjam fakatafuta bankuduma wala bankoluma menube arabu latundo kane kafuda me Middle East.
It could be. But like I said, to be honest with you, my interaction with that unit is limited. I'm sure there are people still serving who serve in that unit pretty well.
Thanks for that information. If the commissioners are interested in looking a little more detail into this, we would try to find the appropriate witnesses and call them. So then let's move on. Let's move on the issues. So now let's come to 2006.
2006.
March.
March Karoko.
22nd or 21st.
March Karoko the morning killing.
You were in your office. What happened?
Okay, prior to 21st, when this issue or this matter of an abortive coup was still cooking, I was at the counter-espionage unit. So, on the whole, there was an informant. And then contacted one of our officers, Bamba Mane. He's late. May Allah have mercy on his soul.
Anata fere ke hanfo ayen na doku la kilinje ka kibaru diwala ka faye Bamba Mane bari amari e atambitale alama nemanin kafarkelaye.
And then this informer told him about a plan that is going on.
Nyin kibar dila kuloto anata nyinfo Bamba Mane ko ha fero la sitita de me yalon ko pareta man sakunda bondila.
And then when Bamba received this information, he was very close to Captain Lamin Sen. He was the director of strategic planning. So when they heard it, I think there was a little push as to who is this source of yours. Reveal it. No, I will not reveal it because you never know.
Ngalo tumo nyo sabandingo ketaje jumale nyin kibaro dila hanin tamari fule hani ba fulale nyo sabandingo ketaje.
Finally, they met the source and he explained everything in detail.
Bari ko la bangulato meyo kibaro di bambala inyo mari nata nyoja ay ko nyim bebo ye nyoto.
And I think Sen transmitted the message to the late Daba. May Allah have mercy on his soul too.
At this
stage, what position did Daba hold?
Daba was Director General. And then the sensitive nature of it, I believe again, tactical mistakes or strategic mistakes always happen in this field.
Nyinkomo kibar solarim baleti adun filolu kakele memmo kolu lanya ni do kolu sambanya filoluti nalo wol don kata ko nyinko.
So Daba informed the counter-terrorism unit.
Daba nata o kibaro di bunda la ekafo bunda me counter-terrorism unit wala mu kijate lanna tambila no masata bundati.
And tasked the head of that unit.
Anatani saso di doku bunda nyato kola.
One Balajo.
Ikafa mariene min Balajo.
Balajo, yeah.
Balajo.
And then they were handling it at their level.
To akonyin tarta itolebulu ilawo bundala.
Then Sen and Daba were communicating about the same issue.
Sen and Daba ibenyome kan atenyin kukilimula.
I think Daba was trying to ascertain the credibility.
Nalo tumo Daba benyine kata kampuruka kumakoyo soto je foto nyalo foto nyande.
Then he decided to contact one of the state guard personnel.
To tumolong anata nyimira purka dia mansala kantarla do kula lo kilinkono ikavole state guards.
I think it was Tumbul.
Juma ngamira ikafamari ne Tumbulu. Alama nema kala
Tamba.
Tumbul Tamba.
While they were at Mauritania on a visit.
Tumo itata kumbaboro la Mauritania, kumbaboro la je.
So when Tumbul got the information and then Daba communicating back to Sen, and it was absolutely clear that the sources are from the military and they were the purported members.
Birin Daba yo for Tumbule adu between Dabani Tumbul benyo mweka inataje ko sojaro la kulo nyenti andu wole mkuti neya lonko abekeri mwotumo.
So he's absolutely sure that yes, this is credible.
Anatala nyina ko he to nyala nyimukuso to nolti.
Then this is how he instructed the then director of intelligence for the first time, informing him, which is who was Singate.
Utumolem sinya follow ay kibaro di mola me yalon ko wolem kullo din karno kisikisi bundati ka fa utumo Singate.
And when Singate received the information,
bri Singate kibaro soto.
This was the 20th.
Abenda karoti limo wala fe.
20th or the 21st, I'm not sure. Singate did the right thing by calling the unit heads, especially my unit, counter intelligence. And
so when you said earlier that when Daba received the information, he briefed counterintelligence.
No. Maybe I made a mistake there.
Could you take that again?
Yes, what I mean is when Daba received the information from Sen,
ngamen fo membe je wala nyenti ko birin dabaye kibaro mutasembulu.
The first person and the unit he briefed to handle the matter and look into it was the counter-terrorism.
Counter-terrorism. Yes. My mistake.
Yes.
Kibaro di bunda men follow la ke ilonda la wala counter-terrorism men mukullo sunul nin tiyar la
that was
bunda.
Balajos.
Yes.
Wala balajola bunda tintele filter baraka.
So then when he briefed us that day, it was around 2-3.
And
we were all kind of surprised. Like I said, the NIA was not collecting. We were supposed to be collecting these things well before. But like I said, the distractions were too much. Like I said earlier, we couldn't. So when we received it, we were all shocked. And then we said, okay.
Ndel biringa kibaro ni soto akelende kijate olti katu kumafuko kujamalle beke kamulu kam ko dindi do ko do Kenya la bari bitum biringa kibaro soto aketanyo kijate olti bitum tumo no nteko.
So we said, what do we do from here? Then we said, okay, the DG, she said DG is aware.
Nko woto silan telinyenta munekela nko ha bitum do wairi silan DG fango bota kalama.
So DG has briefed the president.
DG kachata president yenne.
And I think arrangements are on the way to round them up. But I said, then what do we do at our level? He said, just be vigilant and then make sure you are all out on patrols to pay attention to everything.
Sila woton telbu nyanta munekela ya maro mendin to lawle minti mbeye ke krosir laluti nan hakilo tu na molu bula menu bitarla banta ka murumurun ka jube roke pour inko kamma.
So that day I was at home, I closed, I went home. And then as I was driving in the evening, and then information came that there was they had a shot at the State House, a gunshot.
The State House.
And then when I received the information, I said, it is what they have briefed us, I think is coming into fruition. Then I quickly rushed. I contacted a colleague of mine, Ibrahim Fay. And then we all were trying to drive towards Banjul. Just to have a first-hand knowledge and idea of what is happening. And as we were driving, we could see that it seems like the traffic going to Banjul were the only people driving on it. Whilst the other lane is jam-packed. So we drove carefully, went through Banjul, divert Independence, go around the market just to see how things, but it was like the streets are empty.
Independence Drive, kata Marseille ma fangola,
I remember calling Sering Modu at that juncture at some point.
State guards la nyaton ko Sering Modu na komandi.
Sering Modu what?
Is it you? I'm not sure. Sering Modu, yes.
Sering Modu.
And he was sounding tense and busy and said, yes, everything is under control. We are preparing to go out. And then he couldn't even talk long and then hang up.
Katu mole mutumo amunta ko abedete ring kulu be siaring abulu wabe haujaring barbitu nala dia mo fon na jamfa akonyen ko ha kulu be ben kotole kulu be maradinne nyin tembe fontel paretele pour ka fundi.
When I heard that, we quickly brushed by the headquarters and get out.
Yo bitu sila mutako wati sutuna dundu ko bulla ko ngaboje ngata.
We later heard that the president is coming back home with the entourage. By then they said, okay, the safest place we can all meet is at the counterterrorism unit because it was based in Bijilo.
Counter-terrorism unit
Don't tell us exactly where.
Okay. So when We went there, we had a brief meeting to strategize issues since the president is coming, and then this thing is going on, the soldiers are on an operation. So everything was just too tense.
Bitun birin bentaje nka chata pour ka kulu fanyo kan ka kulu bonyo to fanan ka kulu sindi nyoma andu ni fanan na lon ko sojaro lu bela du ko ke kanne andu president fanan be say kannan ne woto na kata na kulu tembendi nyama men ni sarto lu sita.
So then the president came, Daba came with him.
Bitun birin president nata anin Daba nata nyola.
Daba came and we had a brief meeting at the counter-terrorism unit.
We briefed
him, and he also briefed us that the soldiers will take care of everything. In fact, in that meeting, he made us know that actually they were also prepared when they were coming. Because the Mauritanian Special Forces were on board. But they didn't disembark. So he thanked all of us and said, everything is under control, you all have done a good job, well, the matter is under control, so we dispersed. Anatal Mumbara, Ayenjai, Makendo Lufan, Kosilan Kobe Tembo Mento, Nakulu Be, Lundila Atembeta, Nakulu Be Marale, Alabarkabaka, Lao Kataku Kendo can between Janjanta.
Did he express any worries about how the president may have felt?
Of course, he expressed some worries simply because he felt betrayed.
Bitung anatala deunda itandile president la deunda ko ato president la karola nyine itandiko amunta yate jamfale
because he said he confided with Tumbul Tamba
ko kato atafawni Tumbul Tamba dia mutale
and Tumbul didn't give him the answer, the response he was expecting.
Atejikita jabiro men na Tumbulu bulu Tumbulu manna fate ye.
And then instead he went and briefed the president.
When he
called Daba, he accosted him.
Very angry
with him that why didn't you tell me?
Daba
told him that this is an information. I'm trying not to give you something that is not credible. I'm trying to ascertain the facts.
Daba kainia jemma foye manya ngakuma soto balo foye bari fonga kata hani fo ngakuma koyo soto lata menna utumo le lafta na ala kanadia muye.
Told him this is why I was going to come to you, but I was trying to get the details.
Daba kai mparetal mpurka nete kan bari jan nimminete kan lafta ngakuma koyo soto mbina menna tilete.
So the president snubbed him all. He said, I think he snubbed him throughout.
So you
could see Daba, unfortunately, he looks worried. So we dispersed, we said to ourselves, as this thing is going on, I'm and Parfai, myself and Ibrahim Fai said, let's quickly go back to Banjul, and then from there, I'm tired, we can all go home since they said the military is handling the operation.
Between Janjanta Tumomena, Ntanim Pafai, between okay, Natabanyu, Nata J. Kolu Jube, Hanim Malo J. Barbitun, Nimbota Jensi Sai, Natasol Kolokatu, Tumon Batata Leotumo.
So I went to Banjul, the headquarters, I prayed Isha prayer.
Ntatabanyu, Kordabanyu, Tonasafo Salije.
And as soon as I'm ready, as I got up trying to go to my vehicle to go home, then the gate opened. And I saw soldiers. Laji Martin, I could remember, Kor and Bunjadabo. They arrested Bunjadabo in cuffs.
Hakilo menjolo Alaji Martin anin Kor anin Bunjadabo bari Bunjadabo utumo yo bulolu chen.
So he told me, why is everybody?
Utumo la kwenye mobile.
And I told him there was no one here, everybody's gone, I'm the only one.
Nka mobe janjang tal dente dambani tutajang.
He said, well, the president says, you people should start let me bring this person, and then you people should start investigation immediately.
utumola ko nyon ko president ko nyin kari nyimmo kari nati jang andu ako ali kisiro damuta kabrin sayin.
I was confused because it has never been part of my plan for that day.
Akatanya hakili nyamoti kato mantara la fero ko wuluntilo.
Honestly, I don't know what to do.
Tonya kinja kalta manu mbe kala.
The only thing I could tell him, okay, take him up to the conference room, let me make some phone calls.
Men fay no wolam asamba bem buloto na conference room moto bitum be telephone commandiro kala.
So I tried Daba that night, I couldn't get hold of him.
Wadaba katawo suto bari masoto no.
I tried Aliu, I got him.
Na Aliu commanding na soto.
And then I explained what is happening.
Utumola ngakulu sata Aliu membe caring.
And then he said, okay, you stay there, let me call the others and see what is happening. I think he also made consultation, and later I was informed that there will be a panel coming from the police, and a panel will be set up. You people should start immediately.
Utumole mai modolu kumande idolu soto anatanyim fanyon ko woto sai ite mbatuji bitun ngalo utumole nyim fero city purka panelo parendi wala molu be menno tombo na kana dolu be wala police anim bunda ko tan wala kana.
So this is how I find myself in that very unfortunate circumstances. When I went upstairs, finally, in the conference room, it is a bride room.
Conference
and I was able to properly look at Bunja. I realized that he's struggling with pain. Like one of his arms, I don't know which one, because he keep, mourning and then moving it around and mourning. And I asked him, what is wrong with it? He said, my hand, I think it's broken.
Utumole mwakuro siko abulo be mininding abulu kilimola andu wate according abulo memma akamuntane na muntanta abulo nyinga munta kawle manata fay mune be caring akonye nanyi bulo dal ngamira akatitale.
And when I see that and the handcuff is still on him, and I told Martin, remove the handcuff, this guy is in pain and he's not going to go anywhere.
Utumole mbirina kono korosi nko matini ali hankofo bondi nyimbuloto katu nying abedimune kono nyimman chilo soto purkata dawoda.
He sat down.
Asita.
Then later everybody started converging.
Did Martin remove the handcuffs?
Yes, I believe he removed it.
What do you say to the suggestion that he didn't?
I will be surprised, but it's a possibility. Because I remember telling him to remove the cuffs.
Apart from this guy groaning about his hand, did you notice anything about him?
Sure, sure, because like I said, when I saw him under the bright light, I saw that his shirt somehow is torn, and I look at him, I knew he must gone through some kind of a tussle.
Bringa korosi ngaje ko ala dundi ko fodula be fararin ngalon ko nyin adunta ku ko le kolole.
So what kind of tussle are you talking?
Maybe he was malhandled.
Asikene ya tilimbalia.
I think he was malhandled because that's the only explanation I can give.
He
will not do that to himself.
Would you therefore say it was obvious he was tortured? He was brutalized.
Yeah.
You answer now.
Yes, he was brutalized.
And what did you see on him which suggested to you that he was brutalized? You've told us about the broken arm.
Yes, apart from the arm that is broken, I can see the shirt is torn, sort of. So I knew there was some kind of a struggle between him and his captors. Or maybe there was no struggle, they just did it to him.
Did what to him?
What his situation, like beating him and causing that harm to him.
Pro abe tembe da mento ya asike ya lipale wala ya polu kala min ya ronko wole ya batandi kunaje nyama nyama.
Apart from the broken arm and the torn shirt, what else did you notice about him which suggested to you that he was tortured?
Ninga bota ala bulo men yemenje ko ay bulo nying ya katile andinga la dondi ko mbe farali. Yemune suudi ato kota ke memba ay tandile ko yinde
That's the only thing I
imara.
could see at that juncture, at a glance.
Kansulu tembo ni ajube kawle follow cross dal wono.
Did you see bruises, lacerations?
Ye urusol ning farol bala farol ja balo.
No, I didn't see that.
Did you see any swellings?
Yelodu.
That, except the arm, he's complaining.
In your statement, this is what you said. Bunja was the first soldier brought into the NIA headquarters, escorted by Martin, Manlafikor, and others I can't remember.
Bunja mo follow the memo soldier follow me anko ya muta ya nati soldier NIA je and me ya nati je wala Martin di Kor aning soldier kotangol.
I would skip a little bit of what you said. Just exactly as you described it. However, at first glance, I could see that Dabo was in pain and his shirt was kind of torn. I knew at that point he must have been manhandled or mishandled by his captors.
Utumoni ajube nga krosi abulo la diminukola ala dondi ko be fararing utumono ngalonko amunta menya muta ya tilimbaliya.
This person, when he testified, he said he was beaten as he was being brought to the NIA.
That could be true. That is even true because, like I said, what I saw, nobody will do that to himself.
How soon after his arrival was he interviewed?
If I
want to put a time to it, it's not too long.
1 hour, 2 hours?
Let's gauge it between an hour, maybe an hour to something like that.
So then a panel was instituted soon after their arrival. Who was present?
Well, the police started arriving, the Dembaso came. Dembaso with Charm, Malamin Sise, Bodoketa.
Lamin Cham, right?
Yeah.
Dembaso, Lamin Cham, Bodoketa, Malamin Sise.
Tindur.
Anindur.
With some orders, I'm not sure.
Anindur, many alonko.
Right?
It would be, yeah.
Okay. 6 people came from the police.
I believe so. I believe so. So then the NIA was there, and then later Buruseka joined us because he was direct to operation, I believe. I'm not sure.
How about Fai?
Fai was there.
That would be Pa Ibrahim Fai.
No, Pa Ibrahim Fai and another Fai is different. Pa Ibrahim Fai is the Fai I told you who I was traveling with.
That's right.
Yeah, but this other Fai is a junior officer.
Okay.
I'm not sure his first name. Is it Babukar? No, I'm not sure.
Let's say Fai. Then who else?
With some other NI officers.
How
like,
about Bubaji was not there?
No. I cannot remember. It's possible.
Yeah.
From the military, I know Fali Jaban came. I don't think Bo was there. I think there is this guy they call Bojang. I'm not sure. Somebody else from the military police. I'm not sure. The names are my problem.
And how about Martin?
Martin, as the captor, obviously was there.
Martin atele mutar lati abije.
And did anybody else come from State House?
From Mobile State House bag.
You know, these soldiers from the State House, they come in different forms and stages.
Ni nungu kabuna State House ni sojarul ikana nyasi jamalema.
It was Martin Malafikor.
Follow Dulato Martin ni Malafikorle.
And the others, I don't know them.
Ani ndulu bari maulu long.
How about Tumbul?
Tumbul came later.
Maybe
before the end of the day or the following day, but I would say he came later.
About Musa Jame?
Musa Jame, the same thing.
Musa Jame
because
when Martin arrived with Bunja, did he alone bring Bunja?
No, he was with Malafikor. And other soldiers, I don't know. 2 or 3.
How were these soldiers dressed?
Usual fatigue. I think some of them are in blacks. Some of them are
well, here we call them black.
Yeah, men in black.
Just black.
Men in black. Men in black. G Gambia.
Men in black.
Any headgears?
Some of them. But this is why I couldn't recognize some of them.
Martin and Kor. So for the masked men, where did you believe they came from?
State guards.
At that stage, did you know of a name they were called with? They were called by?
Junglers.
Was this generally known to members of the panel? That these were the junglers?
Because this is a small country and we all serve in the security sector. Of course, I know every smart security personnel. What feeds you and what keeps you going is information you tap from different angles. You are curious.
Yeah, council ni letmeni alonko between London ni metadu kola kato bunda jamal le bijameni alonko ne fahamu alunkulu meni alonko etelkata ma wala kabalu wala.
How was their appearance to you when they arrived? How was their appearance?
Very intimidating to me personally, not to talk of somebody who is helpless.
Ntefango kuno ila kuoketa nye silanyaleti sako mume yalonko iteliole muta.
And in a huff, if I may put it that way, in view of the short time it took to set up this panel, you all converged at the NIA headquarters to conduct an investigation. Where were the service chiefs at the time?
They came to join us that night.
To participate?
Someone came and the former IGP, what's it called, Sanko?
What was the status of Langtombong in this panel?
Well, if you want me to dilate on that a little bit, Langtombong's status in the panel, we see him as the superior officer who will direct us, guide us, and also answer to our concerns, because there were concerns. And we look up to him.
Lantom dula je ntengaje ko otumo wairi atella palaso be santo palasiti bale muati otungaje ko atella moti ne ya lonko atella bentulu ya marilla ka kulu fanyen andum fanan ntelu nyalo atella kan ko atella kulu nyaton ko te alaw palaso to o palaso nyin kamawulu.
I mean, this was a multi-service. You said you looked up to him for guidance and directions. Would you say that de facto he was the leader of the group?
By virtue of his status, his position, and everything, yes, there couldn't be any other leader.
ala palaso aninga la kobe tembada amendo to nyaton kadoti je men sitambiatela.
Well, the NIA is part of our disciplined forces. So I would imagine that the concept of superior or command responsibility is well understood in the service. Would you say he had command or superior responsibility? Yes. Or what was going on in there?
Nia jube kalulu bumi nyaton kolu la kolu kabula nyono mnyami wotumo kafoko wairi NIA bije wotumo safuno atela palaso na la kalobe tembo mendo wotu atela kolu beku ntonkote sebo ko ha.
He's the senior person, naturally. In service, seniority matters a lot.
Andung atela nyaton koti je andung between doku bunda la karola nyaton kolu la ko kuma ata je bake.
But at that point in time, he was just deputy CDS.
But watembo atele simbe sojaru la kunton kokang.
Even though he was deputy, everybody in that room has not reached that level.
There was
the Director General of the NIA.
See, Council, I want you to just give me a little time. I want to dissect through this thing.
That's why you are here.
Because there are a lot of confusion to understand two factors or two parts of this whole panel. I have seen several people struggling with you. And then if you allow me, with the help of Allah, maybe I will be able to point out what has been the point of argument here.
Its context, and do it quickly.
I will try. You see, when the panel was formed in the first day, the Director General of NIA by then, like I said, was nowhere to be reached.
Director General member NIA Daba wotembo mo mansoto puruka aje wala kadiamwai.
The following day he was relieved. So Director General was not there, but you have two superiors, Sonko and Langtombong.
Director General TJ, bari nyaton kafuna bije Langtombong and Sonko.
When the panel converged the first day, we had an understanding.
Said,
this is a job we are tasked to do. Let's try our level best to the best of our abilities and conduct a very good job. Nobody torture anybody here. Allow them to flow. And then let statement takers take their statements. And then, so that at the end of the day, we could compile a good report. Those who are guilty could be put in, those who are innocent, they are put away, put aside, and then the law can take its course. The whole confusion started about this panel. All our nightmares started when we see things evolving for the worst.
But Mr. Witness, things started to evolve even before you started.
It's true, but it will get worse at some point. I will give you that.
Bunja Dabo was the first person you agree that he was escorted by people who were already intimidating to you, let alone to Bunja?
Isonta nyinna ko molle ya nade je mennu ya lon ko umolu ko ita fon ya fo nyame kita molle me lon ko ita fon silatira ko la surtout Bunja me lon ko atamuta moldi.
That is true. This is why I said,
Go worst. Let's take it step by step.
So you see, when Bunja came, what is mind-boggling? You have a gentleman who is sitting before a panel. We talked to him. Asked him the question saying that, hey, this thing has gone bad. It's unfortunate. You are sitting here standing accused of being part of a coup plot. So please, tell us, because it is not only you have co-conspirators. Just do everybody a favor, just tell us how it happened.
That's the first question asked. And he started to sing, isn't it? You realize that was unlawful?
Could be.
It was unlawful.
Okay, I agree.
So, first, this man arrived in pain. He was suffering. His arm was broken. You agree?
Agree.
His torturer was sitting right there.
Agree.
He was brought in by people who were already intimidating to you. And he sat there facing about 20 odd people, correct? In an intimidating environment, correct? And he was being asked to confess a crime of treason. Correct? Those were the first questions he was asked. You confirm that? He was not read his rights.
But okay, when you're done.
He was not read his rights. He was not informed of his right not to incriminate himself. Any confession you have received as a result became unlawful. You agree with that?
And so, I will agree. But take note, the Gambia in those days, now with all these procedural things you have to go through before you even take a confession, I can tell you then, go into that mile too. Somebody that has been jailed over the years, none of them will tell you, whether they pass through the police, the NIA, or whatever sector, will tell you these rights were read to them.
In fact, you just succeeded in telling us that it was a disaster in this country.
Disaster, yeah.
Rights of suspects were never respected.
That is a fact.
Perhaps it's the time for a break, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will take a lunch break and come back at 2:30. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.